Which would you choose? This or that? I have 4 Chanel handbags for less than the price of one. And that's not a coincidence or luck. Okay, maybe a little good luck, but it's more about preparation. A lot went into collecting these bags on a budget, and I'm going to share my secrets with you in this video. So get ready to score designer handbags on a budget with my top 5 secret shopping tips. You won't believe how much you can save. Welcome back to the Handbag Heaven. Today I'm going to be sharing my top secret tips on how I score luxury handbags on a budget. I have been collecting handbags, both luxury and contemporary, for almost 4 decades before the internet, and I have learned a thing or two. Most of what I learned was through trial and error. So now I'm passing along 5 tips to avoid handbag regrets. But before I get started, I just want to say that the best advice that I can give anyone, no matter how big or small your budget, is to know your personal style. The tips I will be sharing is based on the fact that you already know your personal style. Let's get started with tip number 1. The first tip is to do your research. So any good research requires the investment of time. Now, I'm in the business of fashion, so it's second nature to me. But even as an enthusiast, as a consumer, you should be doing some level of research before you purchase a bag. So some of the specific research that I do is I watch the fashion runway shows for each season. Today they're available online. You can see them on YouTube. A lot of the brands have the shows or snippets from the shows on their website, so it's much easier for you to access the footage from the fashion show. I start there because this is going to show you what's coming for the next upcoming season. Now, I haven't had the pleasure of being invited to the larger runway shows like over in Europe. However, I have been invited to the local boutique private showings and special events, and those are always nice. And in most cases, you get access to products, bags and things that have not been put on display yet. Department stores have their own fashion shows, their runway shows, and they have like dates that are posted for that where you could actually attend those as well. These are just good ways for you to actually see the handbags a lot earlier, to give you time to really decide if it's something that you want to add to your collection. Another thing I do is I look at publications like magazines, digital magazines. I have subscriptions. I also like to look at blogs. Purse is one of my favorites. They cover like the fashion shows and have snippets from those. Purse also release information on price increases. Another great source is YouTube. Your favorite YouTube channels that cover fashion, handbags. You gotta remember that most of these YouTubers, they're consumers just like you are. So they're going to give you their real honest opinion on a bag, because in a lot of cases they're spending their money. And now they have to indicate whether they got it for free. Also Instagram, there are people on Instagram who offer subscriptions where they have insider information on a lot of these brands. I actually had a subscription to Foxy LV, and she had like information on the releases, the release dates, like well in advance, and that literally helped me prepare and actually score a limited edition bag that I really was trying to get my hands on. The other thing I do is I reach out to my SA. When I find a bag, like if I'm looking at the runway show, whatever, and I find a bag that I definitely want to get my hands on, especially if you want something limited edition. When I wanted a limited edition bag, I reached out to my SA, and that's literally how I scored that bag. So if you're looking to get a limited edition or a very popular bag that has a sellout risk, your best course of action is going to get it retail, because on the pre-love market it could be much more expensive, and your biggest ally is going to be your SA. Especially if there's some kind of list, like you need to pre-order to get the bag. You definitely want to go through your SA, who can give you all the information you need to get on the list. Number 2 is conduct analysis. Now, this may sound technical, but what I really mean is to analyze your current collection and find any gaps. For each bag trend, design, or color that I like, I compare it to my current collection to find any gaps. One of the gaps that I found in my collection is that although I had the East-West style bags, I did not have any bags that had that more elongated silhouette. So I want to add another piece to my collection that's more elongated. Also, looking at some other trends like the buckles on bags, I realized that I didn't have any bags that had a buckle on it. I had one clutch that had a small buckle on it, but I didn't have any bags. So that's another thing that I want to add to my collection. Also, after the colors of the year, the colors that were on the runway came out for spring, I realized that I really didn't have any peach or pistachio colored bags in my collection. And I actually like those colors, and I was like, I need to add those as well. And last but not least, for my business, I created some designs, and I have a need for a clutch, and I'm hoping to find a clutch in a dark cherry red color. So during my assessment, I actually found several gaps in my current collection. Hopefully you find the tips that I provided so far useful. Let me know in the comments, are you this strategic about buying bags? Also, let me know if you think this is a little too much work to score a bag. Okay, back to the regular scheduled program. Tip number 3 is create a wish list. So for me, I'm a little extra. I have 3 lists. I have a like list, a buy list, and a wish list. So my like list is just everything that I like, but I don't even care about the cost at this point. Then we have the actual wish list. So the wish list will include items that may be out of my reach at the moment due to the cost or maybe even the availability of the item. So this will include things like, like a Birkin, a Kelly, a Rolex. These are things that you have to be on the wait list for, that, you have to be offered, things that are just hard to get your hands on. The other list is my buy list. Now, my buy list is more like a traditional wish list. This list includes items from the like list that is within my budget, that meets my personal style. And basically, I have one more step to determine if I'm actually going to buy. Which brings us to tip number 4, apply why buy criteria. Now for me, I call it why buy criteria, but you may just have criteria. Your criteria should be used to make sure the bags meet your standards. For me, I have 3 main categories when it comes to my why buy criteria. The first category is design. And when I'm talking about design, I'm talking about the key design features. I'm talking about functionality, construction, workmanship, craftsmanship, all of that good stuff. Next, there is style. When I'm talking about style, we're looking at color, materials, and sizes. Last is best value, and for best value, I'm looking at price and retention value. In terms of resale, also I'm looking at limited edition, rather the bag is rare, because that does affect the cost and the value retention. So yes, buy a bag because you love it, but also consider if it's the best value. I'm not saying buy a bag solely based on value retention unless you are purchasing as an investment only. But I am saying when you have chosen your bag, so consider the retention value. Some colors and materials retain values while others do not. So consider that when choosing. If you like a style and it's offered by multiple brands, Keep in mind that some brands hold a higher retention value than others. For me, I chose to purchase my Valentino Rockstar Spike bag via the pre-love market because the value retention historically has been low. But I still love the bag and the brand. However, my thought was, why pay the full retail price when I can just get it for less on the pre-love market? So I got the design I wanted, I got the style I wanted, and I got it for a great price. This is what I mean when I say best value. Okay, moving on to the last tip. Tip 5 is to shop. So this is the fun part. But when it comes to shopping, you want to keep best value in mind. Consider purchasing handbags that are available on the pre-love market. Now, there's plenty of reputable websites and consignment stores where you can find gently used, and in some cases, you can find bags that are actually new that have never been used. In the case with my Valentino Rockstud bag, I was actually able to get an incredible deal on that bag on the pre-love market, and like I said, it was in perfect condition. Also, don't be afraid to negotiate. Like, I have been in situations where I negotiate. I always negotiate, to be honest, if it's an option. Now, when it comes to negotiating, I am careful not to offend anyone. A lot of times it comes off as being rude to offer less than 70% of the asking price. So basically, try not to lowball. Another option when shopping is, if you have an existing bag that you no longer use, you can actually consider trading it for a bag that you actually want. I did try this. Now, it wasn't the best experience for me, but it's something that I would be open to doing in the future. I would just be very careful. Like, I would be looking at more even trades than the trade that I did. But if you want to know more about that experience, I do have a video, and I'll have the link to that video so that you can watch it if you're interested. Another thing is, a lot of these resellers, they do offer discounts. They have loyalty programs. I know like Rebag is really good with the loyalty programs. I know with Vestor Collective, they offer like first time buyers like 15% off, I think. So a lot of the websites do things like that. So that's another way that you can save money. The other thing I do is I basically stock the bags that I want. So once I go out and shop and I find bags that I want, like if we're talking pre-love luxury or contemporary brands, like it could be a new contemporary brand, I basically stock it. Now, you might think I don't have time to stock a bag, but it's so easy these days. All you got to do is sign. They have so many sites out there where you can just basically save the bag, and these sites will go out and they'll notify you whenever the bag goes on sale. Like, I think it's Karma is one, Honey, there's quite a few of them out there now. But that's all I do. I save them there, and then I start to get all these alerts about the price decreases and all of that. And then that way you can get it for like the best deal. I mean, a lot of times you gotta act quick once they notify you, because other people are looking too. So, but yeah, this is another way that you can get the best value. You gotta know when to be patient and when to act quickly. Now, in your research, you should be determining if a bag is like super popular, limited, and will be hard to get. Those bags are typically the ones you're gonna have to act quick on. If it's a classic, it's going to be around for a while. You have some time. But if it's something that's seasonal, like with Chanel or whatever, you might have to move quick. But that's where you work with your SA, and they'll let you know. But if it's something that's classic and there's no sellout risk or no rush, then I do recommend that you be patient. Take your time. Look for the bag that you want. Make sure that you get the best deal for that bag. You're getting the best value. Best value is not necessarily the cheapest, but it's the best of everything. You know, make sure you're getting the design you want, the style you want, and then at the price that you want, that make sure it fits within your budget. So there you have it. That's my top 5 tips to score a handbag on a budget. Now, tip number 1 was do the research. Tip number 2 was conduct the assessment to find the gaps in your collection. Tip number 3 is create a wish list. Tip number 4 is apply your criteria. In my case, I have what I call why buy criteria. And then last, tip number 5 is go shopping. And last but not least, tip number 5 is shop for the best value. And there you have it, my top budget shopping tips for scoring luxury handbags. I hope you find these tips helpful. I hope that this helps you avoid the mistakes I have made in the past. Subscribe to my channel for more shopping tips and luxury handbag finds. I am in the process of updating my wish list and will be sharing them with you. So click that notification bell. Let me know in the comments your tips for scoring luxury handbags on a budget. Let's help each other because these price increases are hard on a handbag collector. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more fashion and lifestyle content. See you in the next video.